So good morning. Okay. Uh, Welcome to the 2019 MORCA Paralegal Fellowship graduation ceremony. My name is Brian Ferguson. I'm the director of the Mayor's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs. And I know a great many of you, but for everyone else, MORCA is one of the very few agencies of its kind in the nation. It's created specifically and exclusively to serve and support the returning citizens through policy advocacy to the mayor, but just as importantly, through acting as a hub to connect returning citizens in the city to all of the resources and services that are available to them. I'm very excited today because, to be quite frank with you, this is my favorite part of the job. We get to celebrate the accomplishments of some great men and women who have gone through quite a bit. They illustrate what successful reentry really does look like in the district. The men and women that we have gathered here to celebrate and to recognize are not here by accident. I've met some of them through the program, and I've known others for a little bit longer, but all of them are really, really exceptional people. I have the utmost respect for what they have achieved here, particularly because it was hard, and even more particularly because they have overcome the many hurdles that exist for returning citizens as they try to navigate new and changing cities. They are now on the other side of those barriers and are squarely on what the mayor likes to call the pathway to the middle class. So let's give a round of applause to the graduates. So let's talk about the law for a second. There are a lot of lawyers in this room, a couple of judges, and so I'm not talking about you guys, but there do exist occasions where attorneys or the legal process in general makes mistakes, and that's what our appellate process is for. And because of that, a lot of men and women who find themselves incarcerated spend hours a day for many days, even years at a time, in law libraries, studying the law and really making sure that they understand how to research and apply applicable case law. These are virtual programs that they are able to undertake and to learn from, that give them the skill set that they need to come out and to be successful. They work on their own cases, but they also work on other people's cases, and so those are the kinds of people that we have here and that we're celebrating here. And if you will, with me for a second, just imagine for a second that you have developed these skills, that you have learned what it takes and what it would need to do to have yourself become an amazing paralegal, but these avenues are blocked from the legal field only because of your conviction. So you've served your debt to society, and you want to utilize your abilities that you've come across to make your life better and to make the lives of your families better, but you can't because of stigma. See, those aren't DC values, and knocking down that barrier is exactly why this program was created. The MORCA Paralegal Fellowship Program is, in large part, a product of one of the first conversations that I had with the mayor. She challenged me, as I now understand that she does with all of her agencies, with a strict expectation to find new and creative ways to create real opportunity for residents all across the district. That is something that a lot of other cities and many other states, quite frankly, don't prioritize. So I want to thank you, Mayor, for your support for not only this program, for the office, but for the returning citizen community in the whole city. Thank you so much. I want to also take a moment to recognize all of the amazing partners who made this fellowship program come alive. The idea behind this program is simple, but nevertheless, it has never been attempted before in the nation. We identified incredible fellows from referrals from our amazing reentry partners and organizations. And so I would like to really give those people a hand because they are really the reason why we're able to be here today. First, we got them amazing first-class soft skill and computer training, as well as academic and continued professional support from the DC Department of Employment Services. I can't say enough about DOES and the support and the leadership from Director Morris Hughes, Charles Jones, and Aisha Upshur. Thank you so much. We next partnered with Georgetown University, who we'll hear from later, who reconstituted their storied paralegal certification program in the School of Continuing Studies, specifically for this program. Georgetown's overall support for this program and their commitment from the very top to multiple programs for returning citizens in the district is invaluable. After completion of the paralegal studies certification, we were, with the help of the American Bar Association and others, able to secure partnerships with some of the nation's top law firms and legal organizations to match the graduates for very highly competitive and coveted paralegal positions at full pay, full benefit for a one-year fellowship. Now that last part is the key that makes this program so unique. And although I'll thank them several times today, I want to specifically and especially recognize Cozen O'Connor, Arnold and Porter, Wilmer Hale, the DC Attorney General's Office, Covington and Burling, Venable, and law students in court for creating these opportunities for these men and women. Thank you so much. Beyond that, I want to recognize Uber and Macy's for their amazing contributions. As you can imagine, transportation and professional clothing have posed huge barriers to programs like this in the past. But Uber and Macy's showed their generosity and their dedication to the issue of helping the mayor create second chances in the district by Uber donating free rides to all of the fellows for the duration of the entire program. Yes. And Macy's for hosting a spectacular fitting event where our graduates were styled and given numerous work-ready outfits at no charge. So all of this came together under the MORCA Paralegal Fellowship that I am so proud of. My true hope is that this will serve as a national model, creating successful stories and chances for careers, just like those enjoyed by the graduates sitting here today, all throughout the country. With that said, and before we hear from our mayor, the Honorable Muriel Bowser, I'd like to hear from the graduates because this is their day and allow them to introduce the mayor. So please welcome Mr. Kareem McCraney and Mr. Milford Washington.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, I would like to say that I'm honored that I was asked on behalf of my class members to speak at our graduating ceremony. I take it as a privilege. I don't want to be redundant, but I want to personally thank everyone who made this whole process and program happen, starting with our mayor, Mayor Bowser, DOES, Brian Ferguson, Georgetown University, its staff in its entirety. I'd like to thank Uber for providing free transportation. And I'd also like to thank Macy's for allowing us to come in there and get our business attire as we prepared for our journey of success with our new employment. Now, when I was asked to speak, I contemplated how much of my own personal story would I divulge. And I came to the conclusion that it's only fitting that certain things be said about who I am. And so, as I stand here, I'm in awe because not even a year ago, I was in prison with a life sentence. And I had been there since the age of 17. But based upon progressive acts and legislative change with the DC Comprehensive Youth Amendment Act of 2016, and more specifically, the IRAA, which is the Inmate Reduction Amendment Act, I was afforded the opportunity to repetition the court to see if I was qualified based upon my reentry plan and based upon my rehabilitation to be fit to come back within the arms of society. And the court concluded that was the case, and so here I am. Now, initially, with me coming out, I didn't know about the paralegal program. I had already earned me an associate's degree in paralegal studies of my own efforts, but DC Council member Trayon White, who I like to give a thanks to, I don't know if he's here or not, but he gave me the information on this paralegal program, and I read it and I looked at it, and he was like, I think this is something you may be interested in. And so, as we say, the rest is history. But just a few things I want to point out, and then I'll invite my class member up. In life, everyone makes mistakes. The sum total of your existence is not defined by one mistake. We live in a society that's a progressive society, a society that should deem people worthy of second chances when those people are worthy of second chances. And it's incumbent upon us to be forever mindful, as opposed to seeing the worst in people because of those mistakes. You should see the best in them, because in order to see the best in them, especially those that made mistakes that are considered to be against the values or morals or norms of society, it takes you to be your best self in order to see the best in others. So anytime those that are in position to provide opportunities, employment, second chances, when you are faced with those situations and you see these people, recognize that in seeing them beyond their mistakes, see them for who they are, see them as human beings, and know in doing so, you are demonstrating the best that's within you. But if you fail to do so, then you're lacking. So all of us have much work to do. I'm very, very appreciative. I extend my gratitude because this particular program, as Brian said, has never been done before in our nation. So this is we blazing trails. We're blazing trails. Hopefully this can become a framework for other programs similar to this around the country. And hopefully that each of us can blaze new trails for other returning citizens to see that when you come out, you can succeed if you desire to do so. And we are striving to be that beacon light on this particular trail to create this path for others that's coming behind us. So I hope this program continue to go on and that it continues to provide opportunities for others that's in similar situations like us, because education is imperative. The more you know, the more you can do. If you don't know nothing, you can't do nothing. And these type of educational opportunities empower us to be free and to stay free. And so without further ado, I'm gonna call forth my fellow classmate, Mr. Washington.
Yeah. Wow, powerful. How's everyone? All right, good morning. My name is Milford Washington. I'm an ex-felon, of course, we know that. I did 10 years in prison. I came home in 2015, was incarcerated in 2015, the year that the mayor took office. And I came home homeless until a few loving family members stepped in to fill that gap. But my life tailspinned into chaos as soon as I came home. I applied for one position in D.C., and I was discriminated against in that employment, and that potential employer violated the ban the box law. So I filed a complaint with the Office of Human Rights. That's why I met Mr. Ferguson, and the complaint was drafted so it was a well-drafted complaint that it caught his attention, and it comes from, the whole time I was in, I actually, what they say, fight them to the door. I was in the law library so much that all the other fellow incarcerated individuals thought I worked in the law library. I didn't work in the law library. But I filed a complaint. Mr. Ferguson, he said, "Hey, I'm working on a program. Would you like to be would you like to enroll in this program?" I'm like, "Okay, sure, fine." So I followed up with him, and he's like, I'm still working the program. So I said, you know what, I don't know what that's got. So anyway, I went on and I graduated from University of District of Columbia with an associate's in legal studies. And so this past September, I believe, I got an email. An email, are you still interested in the paralegal program, MORCA? I'm like, who is this? I don't. So anyway, I enrolled in Georgetown. I met some wonderful professors at Georgetown who are in the back, Santolas, Brooks. And I finished, yeah. And so the program, it started with 20 and ended with 9, who you see here today. So we're like the cream of the crop. And so I was fortunate enough to graduate, and I accepted a job offer with DC Law Students in Court. It's a place that I want to retire, and when someone says it's a place you want to retire, you know that's a good job. It's the it's the 50th anniversary of DC Law Students in Court, so maybe that's significant. Mayor won a second term. Everything is like this lotus flower. So, but with that, I'm going to thank everybody for being here today. Yeah, Saquon Merrill for keeping me in check in class. And Uber, of course, the Macy's accommodation. So with that, this next individual needs no introduction. I'm going to give the thanks to our mayor, Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am very excited to be here with all of you to talk about a program that is significantly important to us. And I can really say it no better than Kareem and Milford just did. So please give them another round of applause. But sometimes when we talk about how we're going to serve returning citizens, we talk about returning citizens as if they're some far-off group of people or some people that got dropped down from Mars or something, when in fact, they are us. They are our brothers, our uncles, our cousins, our friends, our sisters, our aunts, our nieces. They are us. They are Washingtonians. And they are Washingtonians who have served their debt to society and are coming home. And we want to make sure that we are a city that lives our DC values in every single way, and for every person from Ward 1 to Ward 8 and from all backgrounds and beliefs. And it is true that Brian and I sat down 4 years ago and talked about exactly the things that we could do to work with our returning citizens community to make a real difference in people's lives. And I have to tell you that this is not a hard sell in our city, which we should all be very proud of. And I say that in partnership with Attorney General Carl Racine, who is here, whose office has been very active. I say that with the council members who are here at large, Council Member Robert White and Council Member Charles Allen, who's also here. And I say that on behalf of my entire administration, from the Chief of Police to the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel to our General Counsel. We're all focused on how everybody in our city can have a fair shot. The truth is, these are among the most prosperous times in Washington, D.C.'s history. And as such, we have the ability and the responsibility to make unprecedented investments in the people of Washington, D.C. Will you go for that? Will you be with me on that? And not only are those investments good for the individuals, because we've already heard the individual impact it can have, but it's also good for the young people in your lives, right? For the children, the grandchildren, the nieces and nephews. It's also good for the communities, stronger communities. And it, of course, is good for our entire city. When we think about how more people can participate in the prosperity that is Washington, D.C., we know that a good job is where it starts. And a good job not only provides pay and benefits and more security and housing and better education for kids, but it provides pride, and the pride of providing for yourself and your family, and the hope of what building a great career can do for the rest of your lives. And that's really what we are here to talk about. An outstanding paralegal program that Director Ferguson and his team have been diligent in putting together over the last several years. And I told a group of folks last night, what I learned now that I start my second term is if you want to get something in place in a term, whether it's building a building, building a successful program, and really changing the trajectory for people in our city, those ideas have to start in year number one. All right, so we're in year number one of the second term, the Bowser administration, and we get to celebrate this great program. But it's also a challenge, as Brian mentioned, for the next great idea. And let's get that started today, funded today, and implemented this year. And that way we know that we will be celebrating yet another successful program at the end of our second term. So let me, we talked about partnerships, and I love it when I get to celebrate companies that I already support. Uber, I take Uber. You all like Uber and Uber Eats? It's changed the way I do things. I love Macy's. And by the way, we have the best Macy's in the region, just up the street in downtown Washington, D.C. And so it is good to recognize corporate partners who know that they can do well by doing good in our communities. And so we feel very good that Macy's has been a part of our community and has employed a lot of D.C. residents over the years. So we wish them continued success and look for additional opportunities. I know Dr. Morris Hughes is thinking of other ways we can get them involved in getting people back to work. And Uber came on with us early on to make an investment in Ward 7 that is also helping to employ many Washingtonians, many people who are working as Uber drivers live and work in Ward 7, and we're appreciative of that. And one of the oldest institutions in the District of Columbia, and when Brian told me that they were partnering with us on this, I didn't know that they were doing this kind of work, and I wasn't surprised, but I want to recognize and thank Georgetown University for their, Georgetown University for their commitment to the residents of the District of Columbia. Give them a big round of applause. So in addition to our paralegal program, we will continue to stay focused on other job training programs that we have started in our administration, including the LEAP program, which focuses on how we, people who have some kind of benefit that we're providing are put in line for DC government job openings. Career Connections, which is particularly for court-involved young people, and how we connect them to subsidized job opportunities. Aspire, which has been a very successful small business program for returning citizens and how we can help them start their own businesses and hire DC residents, as well as our Project 500 program and our investments in our DC One Stop Center. So with that, in Brian's leadership at MORCA, he's scanning all of the opportunities of DC government, looking for where we have gaps in policies and initiatives, and looking for how we can make more strategic investments in our residents across all sectors to the benefit of our returning citizen community, and will continue to do that. I want to also recognize and thank all of the members of the bar who have joined us, including Judy Martinez, who is the incoming president of the American Bar Association. And I also recognize members of our courts, Tony Lee, Judge Tony Lee, and Chief Judge Morin, who I think plan to join us as well. So with that, I want to turn it back over to Brian. Thank you all for being here, and congratulate our esteemed graduates here. I'll just finish by saying I went to a graduation one time for the DC Central Kitchen. And DC Central Kitchen really helps people who want to be in our hospitality industry and are being reconnected to work for one reason or another. And they were honoring Jose Andres, Chef Jose Andres, who's been a big booster of the DC Central Kitchen. And Jose was going through a tough time at the time because the President of the United States and him were in court. And even when you're Jose Andres, when the president is suing you, it's stressful. Right? Right, Carl? Stressful. But one thing I realized, and Jose said to the group, that he was so proud of the graduates because here he had amassed a very significant fortune in important business. And he said to them, I've never graduated from anything. So what you have done is you have committed, you have finished, and you have set yourself on a trajectory. And what you have also demonstrated, like Jose did, is we don't always know where people come from. We can only see and be hopeful about where they're going. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It's my pleasure now to talk about our first partner in this entire program. As the mayor mentioned, was Georgetown University. I'm a proud graduate of Georgetown University, and a good deal of that pride comes from the amazing work that the university does in and throughout the district, especially around reentry and around criminal justice. From classes all the way back in Lorton days, to the slavery and equal justice work that comes straight out of the president's office, to Mark Howard's Prisons and Justice Initiative that works with DOES and the McDonough Business School to operate Pivot, an innovative entrepreneurship program for returning citizens, and also works very closely with Director Booth in the DOC to provide unprecedented, really, for credit classes inside of the DC jail for our residents that are incarcerated. So those are, yeah. Yes, Director Booth, I'm excited too. Georgetown has been a great supporter of the district's returning citizens. My special thanks goes out to Dean Otter, Julia Savon, and Corey Brooks for what the School of Continuing Studies has done in creating and operating the entire academic component of this program. Here to give remarks on behalf of Georgetown are the university's Vice President, Joe Ferrara, and the Dean of the School of Continuing Studies, Ms. Kelly Otter.
Brian, thank you very much, and I'll be very brief and then turn it over to my colleague, Kelly Otter. But I want to thank Mayor Bowser and Director Ferguson. As Brian said, we're very proud of Brian as a graduate of Georgetown University. He has accomplished so much already, and those of you who know Brian know there's a lot more coming, and we're very, very proud of him. I want to welcome and congratulate our paralegal graduates and their families. We're so proud and happy to be here today. There's been a lot of gratitude expressed to the partners, but as a partner in this, I want to express our gratitude because I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Georgetown to be able to participate and be a partner in such an important program. And Brian mentioned some of the things we've been doing at Georgetown. Georgetown has always had a commitment to social justice and racial justice. I think we have really consciously tried to step up our game in recent years. Part of this has come from our work, as Brian just alluded to, in slavery, memory, and reconciliation, an effort where we're trying to really be honest about our own past and how Georgetown benefited from slavery. And that has not been easy, but it has caused us to begin to transform as an institution. And when you take an honest look at yourself, transformation can come. And I think it has also caused us to redouble our efforts on racial justice and on social justice. And this program, I think, is one example of that. And through the great work of Brian, Mayor Bowser, Mark Howard, I know, is here on prisons and justice, health disparities. we have a number of initiatives at Georgetown where we're working very closely with the district and with leaders like Mayor Bowser and Director Ferguson to do everything we can to advance social justice and racial justice right here in the District of Columbia. I think another thing we've learned is that this kind of work is ongoing. You don't wake up one day and declare victory. You have to wake up every day and recommit to this work. Brian made a comment earlier that I think part of the way with social justice and racial justice work that you know you're doing something important and something that's right is precisely that it sometimes is really hard. And that's a telltale sign that you're doing something right. You're going to run into challenges, and you are going to encounter skeptics, and you're going to encounter people who want to push back or who don't think that whatever it is you're advocating is that important or is really a priority now. And I think that's a nature of the work. So the people like everyone here today who are committed to racial justice and social justice, to me, are the transformers. They are the people who are in it for the long haul and will work every day to make sure that we build the just society that we all want and that we all need. So I just want to thank all of you for this opportunity, and we are deeply honored at Georgetown to be able to be a part of this. Let me now turn to Kelly Otter, who's the Dean of our School of Continuing Studies, and ask Kelly to make a few remarks. One thing I will say is the School of Continuing Studies at Georgetown is probably our most innovative unit, and I can say that because none of the other deans are here. But the School of Continuing Studies is the part of Georgetown that enables us to do things like this. And it is the part of Georgetown that helps us achieve the vision of true partnership with the District of Columbia and to be a good citizen of the District of Columbia. And a large part of that is really due to Kelly's leadership. So let me ask Kelly Otter to come up. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning. Good morning. I am very grateful and honored to be with you today, and I'm very proud of you. You are the cream of the crop. This is just a wonderful day to celebrate the achievements of the graduates of the MORCA Paralegal Fellowship Program and as new Hoyas, and you know what that means, right? Great. And once again, I also must acknowledge and thank the partners who have collaborated. We would not be here today if it were not for the vision of Mayor Bowser and Executive Director Ferguson, and certainly not without the support of all the outstanding organizations who are represented here today. And students, I know you know that Georgetown has very high expectations, and we take academic excellence very seriously. You know that by the rigorous coursework that you've completed. It's a hallmark of Georgetown. The student experience comes with that expectation that our students will use their education to uncover truth, discover meaning, and strive for justice. You have persevered, and you have prepared yourselves for the challenging yet rewarding careers as paralegals, these positions that you've already assumed and are about to assume. And if you will indulge me, I'd like to challenge you with one more assignment, and that is to keep learning. As much as you can, seek moments, seek mentors, and materials that will challenge you and enrich you, and make the life of the mind the crucial component of your life. By doing so, you will create a richer, more meaningful life and career and inspire the people around you. Once again, congratulations. We look forward to seeing everything you do. You are blazing trails, and we look forward to seeing all the great things you do next. Stay in touch with us.
Thank you so much. And while we do have so many partners, and I mentioned them earlier, I wanted to especially, again, thank the Department of Employment Services, not only for the leadership of Director Morris Hughes, Charles Jones, and Aisha Upshur, but also for the facilitators who work so closely with each and every one of our students. made leaps and bounds, and it made so much of a difference. And we thank you again on their behalf, on our behalf, for all of the work that you've done. So thank you again. Now I'm honored to bring up Ms. Judy Martinez, the president-elect of the American Bar Association. The support of the ABA, and especially its criminal justice section, was critical in our ability to connect with and ultimately to partner with all of these great firms and organizations. So please welcome Ms. Judy Martinez.
Dean Bowser and distinguished guests, thank you for your leadership on this extraordinary effort. And gentlemen, congratulations to each and every one of you from the American Bar Association, the largest professional organization of lawyers. And I have with me here today the leadership of the criminal justice section of this American Bar Association, which has done so much work in order to make reentry and to make your lives and many other lives better. And that work started in response to a call from Justice Anthony Kennedy, who in 2003 directly challenged the American Bar Association to start anew a public discussion about reentry, about American sentencing and correction policies and practice. And the ABA took up that charge and immediately established the Justice Kennedy Commission, and then the Commission on Effective Criminal Sanctions, and delivered a report in 2007 called The Second Chances in the Criminal Justice System, Alternatives to Incarceration and Reentry Strategies. And that report has been a resounding call to others to step up and do our part. And I tell you, so that work of the ABA and its influence doesn't stop at any certain corner or any certain city. It's joined by local state bar leaders across this country, judges and lawyers alike, who are trying their best to make sure that our civil society is one in which all are welcomed and all are at their best. And they are all looking toward this extraordinary program that you have set in motion for many others to follow. And they're looking at the successes that stand with us here today in this room. You are a role model for so many more to come. And we know that you will continue to shine as role models in the work you have ahead. I want to share one short story with you about a program that is a micro program of this one that was started quite a few years ago. And it was for people who were coming off assistance. It was out of an office called BizLink that the federal government set up. And they were taking people and trying to help them find gainful employment, no matter what their challenges were before in life. And interestingly, they started a pilot in my home city of New Orleans. And a woman said, in Chicago said, why can't law firms be a part of that program? Why is it only retail outlets like Macy's and others who are joining in to help returning citizens? And so we started the program. My firm was one of 11 that started, and it was in no sense a paralegal program that had the stretch and the academic rigor that this one has. But it was to put people in administrative positions in law firms in our city. And there was a woman who came to us for the 14-week apprenticeship and ongoing continuing community college education programs that were offered. And her name is Faye. And I stand before you today to say, especially to you, the participants and graduates today, that 16 years later, Faye is still with my firm, and she was one of the most valued employees that we have this day. So I hope as we celebrate this extraordinary moment in your lives, in each of your lives, knowing that you got here because of your hard work and your family's support and hard work and their attention to what your needs were during this path that you're going forward on, that you think about Faye in the years to come and know that you too can have a life that follows of employment security, prosperity, fulfillment, and most importantly, pride, because you know that you have gotten yourselves here today. Thank you very much on behalf of the American Bar Association.
Thank you so much, Ms. Martinez. Before I go any further, I really, and as I kind of address the law firms and legal organizations that really were the linchpin of this program, I really want to take time out to thank the Mayor's Office of General Counsel, Betsy Cavendish, also Corona, who did so much to help us to formulate the contracts and the agreements with all of the firms. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of work. And so thank you so much for all of your dedication to this program. After all of the client agreements were checked for the law firms and after all the internal conversations among management teams had concluded, the decision was made to join the mayor in creating a better city and ultimately a better nation for returning citizens through example from what we're doing here in DC. Most of the firms, paralegal directors or HR directors or senior management partners are here today. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of this program and being kind of your own trailblazers with respect to all of the other firms and other organizations still to come that will participate in this program and in many other programs that model itself after this. So thank you guys so much. The lives of the men and women that you hired will be changed forever. But just as importantly, this is not a charity program. And we've talked about this in any number of meetings. But the folks that you are getting have been expertly trained and will most definitely be value adds for all of your firms, all of your organizations for years to come. Because Covington was the first firm to join us under this program, Mr. Eric Holder, Jr., a Covington partner and the first African-American Attorney General of the United States, wanted to send a message to the graduates on behalf of Covington and the other partner law firms. We have sound issues. But just to sum up kind of the remarks that were given, Covington and Burling is the firm that initiated with us this program and initiated kind of the interest in a lot of the other firms in signing. We know that under the leadership of its director, Tim Hester, there's been a lot of work that Covington has done that has kind of reached back out to the community. And for the firms, I think that it's important, to acknowledge you all for your contribution to these men and women's lives. Like I said, this is a reciprocal program because you're getting some of the very best paralegals that you could ever hope to have, some of the most dedicated, some of the sharpest, some of the most focused individuals who've gone through unimaginable stresses and come out of it on the other side far better, as you heard from our amazing speakers earlier. So thank you guys so much for everything that you have done, because without this part of the program, it would not be anywhere near what it is today, and the successes that we've enjoyed and that we will continue to enjoy through the employment of these men and women is something that is to be valued and something to be celebrated. So thank you again for all of your contributions. And so now to the part of the program that brings us all here. Celebrating the graduate success and successful completion of Georgetown's rigorous paralegal studies certification program that they each had to fight through is the reason that we're here. This ceremony also celebrates the well-earned designation as mayoral fellows. And so for this, they will also receive a certificate of achievement from the Office of the Mayor. Accordingly, I would ask Ms. Mayor Bowser, Director Morris Hughes, Joe Ferrara, and Dean Otter to come up as we hand out the certificates. Yeah, so we're gonna. And so, and if we could also have Councilmember White, Allen, and AG Racine to join us as well.
Okay.
There you go.
You want to announce the graduate?
Absolutely. And the first graduate is Miss Michelle Lindsay. The next graduate that we would like to celebrate, Mr. Pilly Greenfield.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
The next graduate, Mr. Kareem McCraney. The next graduate, Mr. Saquon Merritt.
Congratulations.
Great job.
The next graduate, the mayor of the cohort, Mr. Charles Russell.
I love it. I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Milford, Washington.
Teaching you something.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Hey, congratulations. Nice to see you.
That's my son.
Thank you, Mom.
Mr. Eric Spencer.
See if we can get a picture real quick because you got an OAG. Spencer's already asked for a pay raise at OAG. Mayor granted it.
The next graduate, Mr. Damani Roberts Helliger.
Congratulations to you.
The next graduate, Mr. Paul Raymond.
Congratulations to you.
And that concludes all of our graduates. Can we give them another round of applause, please? So this has really been an honor for me. I want to leave with thanking the MORCA staff who worked so hard on this program, especially our Director of Operations, Ms. Gloria Martinez. And Ms. Alicia Jackson. Congratulations again to all of the graduates. Thank you again to Mayor Bowser for all of your support, to all of the law firms and all of the partners. And to paraphrase Mr. Russell Simmons, thank you for coming out. God bless you and good day.
Good job. Yeah. Likewise. Thank you. This is great.